throwaway account because my family knows my main Reddit. I, 26 male, have always been the responsible one in my family. I went to college on scholarships, got a decent job in IT, live within my means, and actually have savings. Apparently, this makes me the family bank. Over the past 5 years, I have paid for Uncle Mike's car repairs, $3,200, Aunt Linda's medical bills, $8,500, Cousin Jake's college textbooks, $1,800, Grandma's prescription medications, $2,400 over 2 years, and various emergency loans that were never repaid, $6,000 plus. I never really added it up before, but holy cow, that's over $22,000. And these weren't loans. They were family helping family situations where asking for repayment would make me the greedy one. Now my cousin Sarah, 24 female, is getting married and wants her dream wedding. The problem? It costs $15,000, and she has maybe $2,000 saved. Her solution? I should pay for it because you're the only one in the family who can afford it, and family's supposed to support each other. My mom called me yesterday crying about how Sarah has been planning this wedding since she was little and how devastating it would be if she had to have a cheap wedding. My dad won't even talk to me, just gives me disappointed looks. The thing is, I've been wanting to buy a house. I finally have enough for a down payment, but if I pay for this wedding, there goes my house fund for at least another year. Sarah came over last night with wedding planning binders and started talking about the venue, flowers, and catering like it was already decided. When I tried to bring up money, she said, "Don't worry about the details, we'll figure it out," and kept showing me pictures. Am I being selfish? Everyone keeps saying it's just money and you can't take it with you, but this is my money that I worked for. I never had anyone pay for my stuff. But also, what if I'm being too stingy? Sarah is family, and weddings are important. I just don't know anymore. Update. Well, crap hit the fan. First, thanks to everyone who commented on my original post. The overwhelming response was that I'm not greedy and that my family has been taking advantage of me for years. Reading all your responses was like a wake-up call. So here's what happened at Sunday dinner last week. I went to my parents' house for our weekly family dinner. Sarah was there with her fiancé, Tom, plus Uncle Mike, Aunt Linda, and my parents. Sarah brought more wedding planning stuff and started laying out venue photos on the dining table. So, I talked to the coordinator, and we can put down the deposit next week, she said, looking directly at me. We just need the first $5,000 by Friday. The casual way she said it, like it was already my responsibility, just flipped a switch in me. I'm not paying for your wedding, Sarah. The table went dead silent. You could hear the kitchen clock ticking. Sarah's face went white, then red. What do you mean? We talked about this. No, you talked about it. You never actually asked me, you just assumed. That's when Uncle Mike jumped in. Come on, buddy, don't be like that. It's family. That's exactly why you're always in trouble. I did start being the asshole. And exactly, Mom. Family helps family. You helped everyone. And that's when I lost it. Right, I helped everyone. I paid for Mike's car when he bought lottery tickets instead of saving for repairs. I paid Aunt Linda's medical bills when she had money for a cruise 2 months later. I bought Jake's textbooks when he spent his book money on weed. I've been helping this family for 5 years, and not once has anyone paid me back or even offered to. Aunt Linda, we didn't know you were keeping track. I wasn't keeping track, but I added it up this week. You want to know how much? Over $22,000. That's what I've given this family. The silence was deafening. Sarah started crying. So you're just going to ruin my wedding because you're obsessed with money? I'm not ruining anything. Have the wedding you can afford, like everyone else in the world does. Then my dad, who hadn't said a word, finally spoke up. I'm disappointed in you, son. This isn't how we raised you. You raised me to work hard and be responsible. That's exactly what I'm doing. Tom, the fiancé, tried to mediate. Maybe we could work out a payment plan. No. I stood up. I'm buying a house with my money, the money I earned, the money I saved. You all figure out your own problems for once." I left. Haven't talked to any of them since, except for my mom texting me articles about the importance of family and supporting loved ones. The wedding is in 3 months. I'm not invited anymore. Honestly, I feel lighter than I have in years. Edit. Holy crap, this blew up. Thanks for all the support. And yes, I realize now that I've been an ATM for years. Better late than never, I guess. Edit 2. For those asking, yes, I'm looking at houses now. Found one I like and putting in an offer this week.
The harassment has gotten worse. So much worse. It started with the group chat. My cousin Jake, college textbook guy, screenshotted it and sent it to me before I got kicked out. Here's some highlights. Uncle Mike. He's gotten too big for his britches. Someone needs to knock him down a peg. Aunt Linda. I can't believe how selfish she's become. All that money just sitting in his bank account while Sarah suffers? Mom. Maybe we were too easy on him growing up. He never learned about sacrifice. Sarah. I can't even look at wedding stuff anymore without crying. He's destroyed the happiest day of my life. They've also been recruiting other relatives. My great aunt called me last Tuesday. Your poor cousin is heartbroken. Surely you can spare a little for family. When I explained the situation, she said I was talking back to my elders and hung up on me. But it gets better. They organized an intervention. Last Saturday, I came home from grocery shopping to find my parents, Sarah, Tom, Uncle Mike, and Aunt Linda sitting in my apartment complex parking lot. Apparently, my mom used her spare key, which I'm changing the locks over, to wait for me in my apartment until I told her to get out. They cornered me by my car and took turns explaining why I was being unreasonable. It's just money. You'll make more, Uncle Mike. Sarah will remember this forever, Mom. We're not asking for much, Aunt Linda. $15,000 is not much? I thought you loved me, Sarah, crying. The kicker was my dad. Your grandfather would be ashamed of the man you've become. That one hurt. But you know what hurt more? None of them, not one, acknowledged that I'd already given this family over $22,000. Not one apology for taking advantage of me. Not one thank you for everything you've done. Just demands for more. I told them I was calling the police if they didn't leave my property. Sarah called me a heartless bastard, and they finally left. The flying monkeys haven't stopped either. Random cousins I barely talked to have been sliding into my DMs. Hey man, heard about the wedding thing. Don't you think you're being a little harsh? Sarah's really struggling. Can't you just help this once? The family is really worried about you. This isn't like you. I've been getting calls from relatives I haven't spoken to in years, suddenly wanting to catch up, and somehow the conversation always turns to Sarah's wedding and my situation. But here's the thing that really gets me. 3 different family members have asked me to just pay for part of it as a compromise. When I asked which part they'd prefer, flowers, venue, or catering, suddenly they got quiet because they want me to pay for all of it. They just want me to feel like I have a choice. The good news, I put an offer on a house and it was accepted. Closing next month. Having that goal and seeing the light at the end of the tunnel has made it easier to stay strong. The weird news, my cousin Jake, the one who sent me the group chat screenshots, apologized to me privately. He said he never realized how much money I'd given the family and that he felt bad about the textbook thing. He offered to pay me back $20 a month. It's not much, but it's something, and more importantly, it's the first time anyone has even acknowledged that I gave them anything. Sarah's wedding is in 6 weeks. I'm still not invited. Fine by me. Edit. For everyone asking why I don't go no contact, it's harder than it sounds when it's your whole family. I'm working on boundaries first. Edit 2. Yes, I changed my locks, and my mom is pissed about it. Update. The wedding happened last month, and, well, let me just say, the aftermath has been wild. So I wasn't invited, obviously, but Jake, cool cousin who's been secretly on my side, kept me updated via text throughout the day. Here's what I missed.
The wedding was rough. They ended up having it at a VFW hall instead of the fancy venues Sarah wanted. Decorations were clearly DIY Pinterest attempts. The photographer was Uncle Mike's friend with a good camera. Catering was Olive Garden takeout. But here's the kicker. Sarah wore a $3,000 dress. While crying about not having money for the venue, she bought a designer dress that cost more than some people's entire weddings. During the reception, Sarah gave a speech about finding out who your real family is and how some people will abandon you when you need them most. Apparently, she stared directly at my empty chair while saying this. Several relatives told Jake they felt uncomfortable about the whole thing. 2 weeks after the wedding, I got a call from Tom, the groom. He asked if we could meet for coffee. I was curious, so I said yes. Tom looked like hell. Turns out Sarah had been lying to him about the wedding budget. He thought her family was paying for most of it. When he found out she'd been expecting me to pay for it, he started asking questions about other financial stuff. Turns out Sarah has $12,000 in credit card debt she never told him about. She'd been using wedding planning as an excuse to buy expensive stuff for the wedding, but keeping it for herself. The $3,000 dress? She bought it with his emergency fund without telling him. Tom felt like an idiot. He said he never would have agreed to the big wedding if he'd known the real financial situation. He apologized for the family pressure and admitted that he thought it was weird that everyone expected me to pay for it. Jake called me last week with more tea. Uncle Mike, the one who called me selfish, asked Jake to borrow $500 for car stuff. Jake said no, and Mike got angry and said, "Your cousin has turned this family against helping each other."
The same Uncle Mike who criticized me for not helping family immediately got mad when someone wouldn't help him. But wait, there's more. Aunt Linda posted on Facebook asking for prayers and support because she's behind on rent. Guess who she didn't ask for help? Me, because apparently I'm not family anymore. But she did ask my 19-year-old cousin Emma, who works part-time at Target, if she could spare anything to help family. My grandmother, the one whose medications I paid for, called me last week. I was prepared for another guilt trip, but instead she said, "I heard about Sarah's wedding nonsense. Good for you for standing up for yourself. That girl has been spoiled rotten her whole life." Turns out Grandma has been watching this family dynamic for years and was proud of me for finally setting boundaries. She also told me she never asked me to pay for her medications. My mom volunteered my money without asking me first. Grandma didn't even know I was paying for her stuff. House closes next week. I'm so excited to have my own space. Haven't spoken to parents in 2 months. Mom occasionally texts guilt trips, but I don't respond. Sarah and Tom are working on their marriage, aka fighting about money constantly, according to Jake. Uncle Mike is still mad at everyone who won't lend him money. Aunt Linda is posting increasingly desperate Facebook pleas for financial help. I've saved an additional $3,000 since I stopped being the family ATM. Reading through my old posts and all your comments made me realize something huge. I wasn't helping my family, I was enabling them. Every time I paid for someone's emergency, I was teaching them that they didn't need to be responsible because I would always bail them out. I was rewarding bad financial decisions and making myself responsible for other adults' choices. Uncle Mike bought lottery tickets instead of saving for car repairs because he knew I'd pay for the repairs. Aunt Linda went on vacation because she knew I'd pay her medical bills. Sarah bought a $3,000 dress because she thought I'd pay for everything else. I created this monster by being too generous. I'm not going full no contact, but I'm definitely low contact with most of them. Jake and Grandma are cool. Everyone else gets polite but distant responses. If there's ever another emergency, my response will be, "That sounds really tough. I hope you figure it out." I'm also starting therapy to work on my boundaries and why I felt responsible for everyone else's problems. To anyone else dealing with this, you are not responsible for other adults' financial problems.
But we're family is not a valid reason to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. And if people only value you for your money, they don't actually value you. Thanks for helping me see that, Reddit. Edit. Thanks for the gold. And yes, I realize how naive I was. Better late than never, though. Edit 2. For those asking about my parents, that's the hardest part. I love them, but they've made it clear that my value to the family is financial. Working through that in therapy. Update. I wasn't going to update again, but so much has happened that I figured you all deserve to know how this turned out. Spoiler alert, it's better than I could have imagined. I'm writing this from my house. Yes, I bought it. It's a small 3-bedroom in a great neighborhood, and I love everything about it. Having my own space where no one can show up uninvited has been incredible for my mental health. I've been in therapy for 4 months now, and holy crap, you guys, I had no idea how messed up my family dynamic was. My therapist helped me realize that I've been parentified since I was a teenager, always responsible for fixing everyone else's problems. Remember Sarah and Tom? Yeah, that didn't last long. They separated 3 months after the wedding. Jake gave me the full tea. Apparently, the credit card debt I mentioned was just the tip of the iceberg. Sarah had another secret credit card with $8,000 on it. She'd been buying clothes, makeup, and furniture for their future home without telling Tom. But the real kicker is that Sarah had been telling Tom that I was probably going to surprise them with wedding money anyway, because he always comes through for family. Tom had been pouting on my money for their honeymoon. When Tom realized I was serious about not paying, and when he found out about Sarah's spending, he started questioning everything. He discovered she'd lied about her student loan debt too. It was twice what she had told him. They tried marriage counseling, but Sarah kept insisting that their money problems were my fault for abandoning family. The counselor apparently told Tom that Sarah's attitude toward money and family boundaries was concerning. Tom filed for divorce last month. But wait, there's more. Remember Uncle Mike who called me selfish? He got arrested for tax evasion. Turns out he's been running a cash-only handyman business for years and not reporting the income. The IRS caught up with him. He owes over $50,000 in back taxes and penalties. Suddenly, everyone understands why he was always having car emergencies. He was hiding money from the government and needed me to pay for legitimate expenses so his paper trail looked normal. Aunt Linda's rent situation got worse. She got evicted and had to move in with my parents. Turns out she'd been spending her rent money on MLM products, trying to build her business. Her bedroom is now full of unused makeup and essential oils.
The best part? She asked Jake to borrow money, and when he said no, she accused him of learning selfishness from me. Jake told her exactly where she could shove that opinion. My dad called me 2 weeks ago. I almost didn't answer, but I'm glad I did. Son, I owe you an apology. Turns out having Aunt Linda live with them opened his eyes to some things. She's been constantly asking them for money, leaving messes everywhere, and complaining that they don't have cable premium channels. She also made some comments about how they should ask me for money to upgrade their lifestyle since I was hoarding my money. Dad said watching her behavior made him realize what I'd been dealing with for years. He said he never understood how demanding the family was being until he experienced it himself. We had a long talk about boundaries and money. He admitted that he and Mom had gotten too comfortable with me solving everyone's problems. He said they started thinking of my money as family money without realizing how unfair that was. Dad's not perfect. He's still weird about me not helping Sarah, but he's trying to understand, and that means everything to me. The biggest shock came from Grandma last month. She asked me to come over for tea, and I was nervous about another guilt trip. Instead, she said, "I need to tell you something about your mother." Y'all, my mother had been intercepting some of Grandma's Social Security money to pay for the medications, then asking me to reimburse her. Grandma had been wondering why her checks were smaller, but trusted Mom to handle her finances. Grandma was furious, not just about the money, but about the fact that Mom had been making me pay for something that was already covered. Your mother made you think I was a financial burden when I wasn't. That's unforgivable. Grandma moved her finances to a different bank and put Jake in charge instead of my mom. She also told me she's changing her will to make sure I get something back for all the money I gave the family over the years. I cried, not gonna lie. Sarah is not doing well. The divorce is messy because of all her debt. She had to move back in with Uncle Mike, who's dealing with his own legal problems. She sent me a long text last week apologizing and asking if we could work something out for her legal fees. I didn't respond. Jake told me she's been telling people that her marriage fell apart because I sabotaged it by not paying for the wedding. According to her logic, if they'd had the dream wedding, Tom would have been happier and they'd still be together. The delusion is strong with this one. The current family status. Parents. Dad and I are slowly rebuilding. Mom is still weird about it, but trying. Having Aunt Linda as a house guest has been educational for them. Jake, my ride-or-die cousin. He's been learning about boundaries too and has stopped giving money to relatives. Grandma, we have dinner every Sunday now. She's sharp as a tack and has been giving me dating advice. Uncle Mike, avoiding me because he knows I know about his tax situation. Aunt Linda, posted a Facebook rant about selfish millennials that was clearly about me. I'm blocked from her profile now, which is fine. Sarah, no contact. I'm somehow both dead to her and responsible for all her problems. What I've learned. Being generous and being a pushover are two different things. People who really love you don't want to burden you financially. But we're family is often code for you're not allowed to have boundaries. Enabling bad behavior isn't helping anyone. It's hurting everyone. The people who got mad at me for setting boundaries were the people who benefited most from me not having any. My therapist helped me understand that I wasn't actually being generous all these years. I was trying to buy love and acceptance. I thought that if I could just help enough, fix enough problems, give enough money, my family would appreciate me and I'd belong. But you can't buy real love. And the people who love you for real don't want you to have to buy it. I'm genuinely happy now. Like, actually happy. Not just fine. I have money in savings, a house I love, and I'm dating someone amazing who thinks it's crazy that my family expected me to pay for a wedding. I've started volunteering at a financial literacy nonprofit instead of giving money to relatives. It feels good to help people who actually want to improve their situation rather than just get bailed out. To anyone reading this who's in a similar situation, you're not selfish for having boundaries. You're not responsible for other adults' financial problems. And if people only contact you when they need money, they're not your family. They're your customers. It took me 26 years to learn that lesson. I hope it doesn't take you as long. Edit. Wow, the response has been incredible. Thank you all for the support throughout this whole saga. Edit 2. For those asking, yes, I'm still in therapy and it's the best money I've ever spent on family, because I'm family too. Edit 3. Someone asked about my dating life. Her name is Emily, she's a teacher, and when I told her about the family wedding drama, her response was, "Good for you for standing up for yourself. We're taking it slow, but she's amazing." Final edit. This will probably be my last update unless something truly crazy happens. Thanks for being my internet family when my real family forgot how to act right.
You all helped me see that I deserved better, and I finally believe it myself.